I could see that a child might go, wait a minute, you're telling me now that there's something wrong with me. Do you think that at some point, and I understand that it helps a lot of kids to understand that they're on the spectrum,
Mhm.
but do you think that there's ever a time where it's harmful to kids, to their sense of self-worth, when their parent comes along and says, we see something going on, we're going to have you tested?
Mm.
I could see that a child might go, wait a minute, you're telling me now that there's something wrong with me, and
Mm.
that could make them very insecure. Do you see that happens sometimes? And how would a parent
It
deal with
can,
that?
but it depends on how you approach it.
Okay.
So, like with my middle child, who has dyslexia and severe dyslexia, um, I found a book that talked about the advantages of dyslexia, and it's called The Gift of Dyslexia. And
Oh,
the book talks about how it is a superpower. He's able to flip things around 8 different ways in his brain all at the same time,
wow.
and it doesn't help that much when you read, but when you're thinking spatially
Uh-huh.
and you're doing other things, it is a true gift. And so to take it out of its box and say, okay, so this may cause you to struggle reading, but let's look at the advantages. The same thing with the autism spectrum. I have a railroad brain, I'm a train. My brain works like it's a freight train.
Hmm.
And when I'm focused on something, I am so focused on something, nothing else matters. Like when I'm speaking in front of an audience, there could be kids crying, there could be all these other things going on. I don't even hear them because
Mm.
my brain is so focused on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so that is a gift.
Yeah.
The problem is when my husband asks me in the middle of me freight training something on my computer and says, we should take the dog for a walk, I like lose it. Now that I understand this about
Because the
myself,
train gets derailed.
the train is derailed and it doesn't get on the track very easily
Yeah.
again. So, but I know that now. And,
Right.
and so, training your kids, this, about being on the spectrum is awesome,
Yeah.
because if you have to work from home, if you have to work in a busy office,
Sure.
you can get a lot of stuff done
Yeah.
if you're focused on it. But just know that if you have to change tracks, this
Yeah.
is what it takes. It takes a lot of mental energy. And so if you're a parent going, oh, that's why my child has such a hard time going from reading to math.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Right.
You got to give them that warning. The track change is coming.
Right. Right.
And we need to prepare for this. And then they can make that transition much more smoothly. But
So in
yeah,
reality, it really relieves a lot of frustration,
it does.
is what
Mhm.
you're saying. Once a parent and child understand what is actually going on,
Mhm.
then you can address the issue. And so it just depends on how the parent approaches
Exactly.
the topic. Because, if a
Mhm.
parent goes to a kid and says, there's something clearly wrong with you, let's have you
Right.
tested, that might not go over so well.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
exactly.
if we can say, I see some frustration in this area, let's see if we can figure out why
Mhm.
there's frustration. Then I could see how that could really be a huge blessing in their
Exactly.
life, not just
Mhm.
as a kid, but for the rest of their life. I
Yes,
mean, that's huge.
exactly. Because
That's
otherwise, what they say now statistically is that a child up to about age 7 to 10
mhm.
will say, "Oh, that's just something that happens in my life when there's different issues going on." When they get older than 10, they start blaming themselves for those issues.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
the earlier you approach these things as, this is just something we need to change to make
Yeah.
this better for you, the better off it is, because then we start dealing with mental health issues
Right.
related to undiagnosed needs.
Is there an age, like a kind of a specific magic age that is the best age to start testing?
They the tests now are so accurate. They do them at age 3.
Okay.
So
Wow.
you're going to notice them really early on. They don't do so well with girls still.
Okay.
So that is
Interesting.
just coming about because all of these standard tests were written for boys
Oh,
who like to line up cars and line
yeah.
up trains instead of girls who like to line up their shoes
Right.
and their closets. This is where me and my daughter fit into that category.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's taking time, but
Yeah.
there are some really good resources. One that I really opened my eyes, and I've been pointing a lot of women to that, that even like people I interview and they say, you know, Peggy, I think I'm on the spectrum. And I said, well, you might be. Read, um, there's a book called Autism in Heels.
Oh,
And
wow.
that
Okay.
was an eye-opening book for me because I
Okay.
went, oh yeah, that's, asking questions. Like I asked my mother when I was little, how do I make friends? And she's
Mm.
like, well, you just do. And this is what this woman said. Her mom told her the same thing. And I'm like, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I've learned to script how I approach people, and it's become natural over time, but it wasn't something that I naturally knew how to do.
Yeah. It's so interesting when you say that because you told me that actually, I think it was last time we were together at the HSLDA conference.
Mm.
And I thought that's so surprising to me because you're such a friendly person. Like I find it very easy to talk to you and you seem, not like a super crazy extrovert, but very approachable.
Mm.
And that's incredible to know that that is something that you had a hard time with, but what an encouragement to know that
Right.
the Lord has worked in you and in your life to be able to make friends because you're a
Mhm.
super friendly person. And so I
Well,
would
thank you.
never have guessed that about you. Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.